Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Loesch-Johnson, and I'm president of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. Thank you for joining us this evening for our monthly community meeting. We meet the first Wednesday of every month from 7 to 8:30. Usually we meet in person at the Great Hall at 6 Norfolk Street, but we're still dealing with this pandemic and trying to keep everyone safe. So we've continued to meet virtually into 2022. Hopefully things will change because I miss seeing everyone in person. But until that happens, I'm happy that we can connect here. We have a full agenda. I put it in the chat, but I'll put it in once again for those that just joined. Hopefully that's received. And we might have to jump around in the agenda a bit, but we will get through it all. Like I mentioned before, here at the Neighborhood Council, we like to start on time and end on time. So we'll get through it together. Just a reminder, these meetings are recorded and then they're posted on our YouTube channel. So if you missed the meeting or if you want to share it with friends, family, neighbors, you can make sure to follow our YouTube channel and then you can share the links. And it's really nice the way that it's edited. You can just go to the presentations that might be most relevant to you. But a lot of information is covered in these meetings, a lot of important information you want to share with your neighbors. And so it's really good that you have access to it even after tonight. With that said, we'll jump right into the agenda. We always kick off the meeting by hearing from our police districts, C11 and B3. I see that B3 is on.
Yes, ma'am, we are here.
Hello, how are you?
Doing very well. How are you today?
Doing all right. Happy to see you. Take it away.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So for the last 30 days, your catchment area, there was only 7 calls that resulted in a 1-1, which is a police report being written. There was one incident. It was a simple assault. Took place on Oakwood Street, and 2 friends were driving in a vehicle. One friend asked to borrow the vehicle, and so because they were friends, sure, absolutely, you can borrow my car. The person left an item in the vehicle, and when they came back to get it, the items were gone. And so that prompted a physical altercation between the two. And the victim declined to be seen by Boston EMS, but there was a report that was written for it. The other incident was there was a motor vehicle that was stolen, and this was in the area of 705 Washington Street in Dorchester. And person went inside, they ran inside the store, they left their motor vehicle running, and when they came back out to drive home, their vehicle was no longer there. So one of the things that I would like to talk to you guys about is 54% of the larcenies from a motor vehicle are because someone forgets to lock their doors. We've all heard the horror stories. Please lock your doors, turn your car off, take your keys with you. Even if you feel as though no one is around, there are opportunists that are observing everything that you are doing, and they're just looking for an easy way to turn you into a victim. So please do your part. If someone's going to steal something, at least let them work for it. Don't almost give it away to them. And once again, and that's in no way of blaming the victim, but by taking a few added precautions, it makes it that much harder for you to become a victim of a crime. And everything else in your catchment area, they were domestic violence cases, which, as you guys all know, we don't go over those. But I do have some good news for you. I'm just going to go over the Part 1 crimes, the year of a date. So we're going to compare January 2nd of this year, well, January 2nd to February 2nd of this year to January 2nd to February 2nd of 2021. So homicides are down by 100%. In 2021, At this time in B3, there were 2 homicides. This year, 0. For rapes and attempted rapes, that's down 50%. Robberies, unfortunately, are up by 50%. At this time last year, there was 4. This year, there are 6. Larcenies from a motor vehicle, and this is a good thing, is down by 58%. Last year at this time, there were 12 incidences. This year, there are 5. So a lot of the crimes, we're starting to see that the crimes are starting to go down a little, but I know that's of any crime is one crime too many. So please, do your part, make sure you take those added steps to ensure that you do not become a victim of a crime. Is there anything that anyone has any questions on? Is there something that you may have heard of that you have questions about? By all means, now is the time to ask. No questions? Okay.
Actually, I have a question.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay,
What question do you have?
I would like to know the situation of the house on the corner of Talbot Ave and Brent Street, our street, because there was some activities. Now I see it looks like it's been boarded up. That house in the corner there.
Okay, and what's the exact address?
It's on the C11 side.
I was just about to say Brent Street's on C11, not on B3.
What I can do, I can reach out if you have questions regarding that. I'm very good friends with the CSO for C11. He's probably going to log on sometime soon, but if he doesn't, you said Talbot Ave and Brent Street?
Yeah, and Brent Street, yes. It's right there at that corner.
Okay, and what kind of questions did you have?
No, before the neighbors were concerned because there was some activities going on over there, but now I see there is nothing. I was just wondering if their house, somebody owns it, because I don't know if anybody owns their house or the bank, or what's the situation with that.
I'm going to connect you to some correspondence we've been having with ISD and the mayor's office, because it's on their problem properties list. But I'll chat with you about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And does anyone else have any other questions or any other concerns?
No, thank you.
I'm just gonna jump real quick, Cynthia. Just gonna give everybody a quick review from 2020 to 21. Just some round numbers. So in 2020, we had 429 aggravated assaults. That number was reduced to 338 in 2021. Total burglaries, we had 167 in 2020, and we ended up with 105 in 2021. So our numbers continue to drop. I know Shawn gave you some numbers, and they look like, when you hear the numbers percentage-wise, it seems high, but I want you to know the ballpark number for the year was extremely low. We actually reduced the crimes here at B3. Our total larcenies in 2020 was 725. We finished 2021 with 502. So again, constant decline and decline. Violent crimes, 570 in 2020 and only 448 in 2021. So again, that's in part with our partnerships with our community groups, people calling 911 and giving us detailed information so that we can make arrests and actually get these people to court. As a matter of fact, the total number of arrests for 2020 was 810. That number was also reduced again in 2021 to 785. So again, kudos to the community and the jobs that you guys are doing as a community group, as well as the officers of B3 handling those crimes adequately. But I want to thank you guys.
Thank you both for your presentations. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you next month. For clarification, for those of you that are not aware, B3 covers behind Washington Street, west of Washington, going towards Blue Hill Ave. C11 covers Washington Street and going east of Washington Street towards Dorchester Ave. Is anyone on from C11? hopefully they join us soon. We'll check in with them. But thank you guys again. Moving along in the agenda, we are now going to hear from Richard Scott. He's the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market Manager, and he's going to give us an update on what's been happening with the market.
All right, thank you, Cynthia. How's everyone doing? So despite the Dorchester, like Cynthia said, my name is Richard Scott. I am the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market Manager for this year. So just to update what has been going on with the winter market. So as you guys know, the winter market has been off. Well, as far as the weather has been off to a tough start. We had 2 snowstorms. It's been really cold, so we haven't been able to meet in person. However, with that, our online market has been actually to an all-time high. So with that, we've been able to distribute about $4,000 in coupons to families that are in need of assistance, which is has been a strong suit for us. So we want to continue to increase those numbers and continue to give out to families in need. Unfortunately, due to the blizzard from last week, our farmers still need some time to recover for this week. So we will be postponing our market for this Saturday. But with that being said, we definitely want you guys to please put in your online orders. And if you do need assistance for coupons, feel free to reach out to me. You could separate message me in this meeting, and I'll be able to give you more info and be able to help you out with that. But our market, and I can share my screen. And I have one of the boat teams here, Lori, if you could talk to everyone a little bit about what's going on with the market, what we have to offer online. All right, can everybody see that? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so this is basically what our online market looks like. We have variant of different products that we are giving out. So we have some of our vegetables. We got cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts. We also have fruits such as apples, pears. They also have apple cider, things like that. And on top of that, we also have our fresh produce as far as meats and things like that. So we have a various amounts of different things in produce, farm fresh produce at that, that we're trying to give out to the community. So, whenever you have a chance, please make sure you check this out, browse through, and I'll drop the website into the chat. But, this is for you guys, it's for the community, to better the community. So, let's make sure that we're just taking advantage of these opportunities. But, I'll drop the link in the website, and, thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Questions for Richard with regard to the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market? Can you put the link to the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market in the chat?
Yep, doing that right now.
I have a question, Ms. Erica. How much money did the market make last year?
That's a good question. For the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market, we'd have to double check with all of our farmers for sales to get the numbers so we could do a comparison. But we have the numbers for the summer market.
Can we share that? What was the amount made?
Get the exact number. So if you're referring to the coupon program, Erica, it was $72,682.50 distributed to families in need through the coupon program with the mayor's office for food access. And that doesn't include SNAP sales, EBT sales, cash sales, or senior coupon sales. So through the Codman Square Farmers Market, lots of fresh food was brought into the Codman Square community because of the farmers market. That's a lot, $72,682.50 just through coupons.
How does one get coupons? How do you refer people into the coupon program?
That's a great question, Marilyn. So during the summer, it was so easy because the weather was nice. We were outside. It's easy for the families to just show up at the market and receive their coupons. But as Richard shared, for the winter, it's been a struggle because we haven't been able to have the on-site piece with the single-digit temperatures, the blizzards, and the snowstorms. So Richard has come up with a system to engage families online. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Richard?
Yeah, so essentially, and I've seen the in the chat as well, Miriam was asking how we give folks the coupon. So basically what we have put together this week actually is that we're giving up a serial code. And so basically it would just be a regular coupon code that once I have your information, I would send out. And from there, you'll be able to, once again, shop and put at the end, you'll be able to put that coupon code inside the checkout section. That way we just know who's getting the coupons and keeping record of those things. So like I said, if you are looking for coupons or you know anyone in need, feel free to reach out to me throughout the meeting. I'm around.
I also see some questions in the chat with regard to the farmers that are involved with the winter market. So there's North of Boston Farm. Once we're on site, Oasis on Balu will be at the farmers market, but online Oasis doesn't have that capacity yet. But there's Brookdale with the dairy products. There's Cape Ann Lobsterman for lobster tail. Richard didn't scroll further enough down, but in addition to the fruits, veggies, meats, dairy, breads, you can also get seafood products. So it's really exciting because there's a great variety. We even have a partnership with Fresh Food Generation, so you can get one of our local merchants, because they have Caribbean food done healthy. You can get their empanadas at the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market's online site. So there's just a lot of options, a lot of variety, a lot of different farmers and vendors involved. And we encourage you to visit the website so you can explore. The exciting thing is you can have farm fresh food delivered to your doorstep. That's amazing. So make sure you take advantage of that and order your food.
So will that be the case even this weekend that the market's closed?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can't be on site because of the single digit temperatures, and the farm is recovering from the blizzard, but they're still honoring the online orders and deliveries.
Perfect. Thank you.
So did you have a special announcement, Richard, with regard to a special donation that we're doing this week?
You
You want me to announce it?
Sure. Yeah, if you can announce it.
Well, I mean, we talked about it yesterday, but Richard secured some additional funds to donate $100 worth of food to 10 families this week. So if you guys are aware of families in need that could benefit from $100 worth of farm fresh food, please inbox Richard before the end of this meeting, because there's only enough for 10 families. And again, if you know any families that just need coupons in general, inbox him as well. Any other questions or comments about the winter market? No? Great. Thanks, Richard. People are saying that's amazing work, Richard. We're grateful for you. Okay, moving along in the agenda, we will now hear a presentation regarding the first community crowdfunding Dorchester development. It's located at 1463 Dorchester Avenue. It's an exciting project happening in Dorchester, and I'm going to hand it off to, is it Miriam?
That's me.
Hello.
Thank you, Cynthia. Hello, Codman Square neighbors. And thank you, Marilyn, for bringing me on tonight. Thank you for hosting in this very organized meeting. Much appreciate our time on the agenda. Yay, Marilyn. So Marilyn, Forman, Daniela, Villon-Maga, and Milton Bramble and I are all on the call, and us, as well as a handful of other folks who are longtime Dorchester members, have been working with T. Lee Development on the first real estate crowdfund in Boston, happening in our very own Dorchester neighborhood over in Fields Corner. So about crowdfunding, what does this mean? We've all heard of crowdfunding in a couple different ways, like fundraising for I'm going to run a marathon or ride a bike and do a bunch of stuff and get a whole bunch of money from my friends and family and then donate it to a nonprofit. We've also heard of things like Kiva, which is a crowdfunding peer-to-peer lending platform where I might loan Marilyn $100 so that she can, work on starting up her business. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that we use this word. What we're doing here in Fields Corner is called regulation crowdfunding. And it is a federal securities regulation that is pretty strict about how you have to do the paperwork. And so many folks have been like, oh, y'all have been working on this for 2 years. How come we didn't hear about it? There's a lot of limited ways that you can communicate or what you can say out loud in a public space until it's finally live on a platform. So what this means is regular people above the age of 18 who are non-accredited investors, which pretty much means anyone that doesn't have a net worth of $1 million or a net income of $200,000 a year. So the general public can now invest in this project, 1463 Dot Ave. And this isn't a get rich quick scheme. You're not investing because, we're going to fix and flip or do something that's going to make a ton of money. This is more about being a part of something. And this group of folks who've been organizing the terms and putting together the work to make this crowdfund come to life is about a collective ownership of a building that's under construction right now. And so instead of tea leaf development going to a big investor and getting one big chunk of money and calling it a day, and that investor making money over a longer period of time on that investment, we can all invest and own and watch this building go up and be a part of something. And for many of us like me, I'm a renter. This might be a step in between never participating in owning real estate and maybe I'm not ready to make that down payment on a house and that's too out of reach for me. Or maybe I want to be a part of it because I want to support Dorchester and I want to invest in Dorchester. So I'm going to just let Daniela and Marilyn and Milton, if you want to say hi for a minute, say hi before I show the video, and I'm going to show you all the website and the platform where we're hosting this crowdfund. Daniela, you want to say hi?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Codman Square Neighborhood Council. Thanks for having us here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. Our team has been working for months, maybe over a year at this point, in bringing this to life. So I'm really excited to be here with our team to show you a little bit more about this initiative, and hopefully folks on the call can help us spread the word to other Dorchester neighbors, other folks of color that live in and around the neighborhood, so that we can make sure that that folks in our neighborhood get the opportunity to invest over others. So we really are relying on folks like you to help us spread the word. And thank you again for allowing us into your space tonight.
Marilyn, thanks, Daniela. Marilyn, you want to say a little something?
They know me. Hi. Hi, everyone. This is really exciting. So I'm just gonna, I know our time is always limited because, lots of good information that comes out. So I'm gonna just hand it back so we can get it rolling.
All right, here we go. Do you mind, Cynthia, if I share my screen?
You're ready to go. Okay,
thank you all. So we're gonna just watch a 3-minute video here that's on the website. I popped the website into the chat. We're also being repped by Boston Ujima Project. So if any of y'all are members of Boston Ujima Project, you might hear about us through them. Marilyn and I have been featured in the Dorchester Reporter, which does a pretty good job of explaining what is community crowdfunding. And I'll also send that in the chat. But here we go with a video that will tell us about the building and this crowdfund initiative.
My name's Travis Lee.
I'm Daniela Villon-Maga.
I'm Milton Bramble. Tea Leaf Development has been in existence for about 7 years, and we launched it in order to create an organization that focused on developing real estate in the Dorchester community.
We develop income restricted housing in the Dorchester area. A lot of our housing also has commercial space.
We have a great support system behind us from the neighborhoods.
Tealy Development has a lot of community ties and ensures that the community's voice is heard throughout the project. 1463 Dot Ave consists of 29 workforce units.
Around 1,300 or 1,400 square feet of commercial retail.
The 5,000 square foot lot sits directly adjacent to the MBTA Red Line.
Legitimately, I can almost touch the train right now and we're on the site.
The project does not include any off-street parking. That is not an accidental thing. We believe that because of the proximity to jobs and services, public transit, and the smaller unit sizes, the studios and one bedrooms where we don't have large families living here with multiple children, that cars are not going to be of high need.
They can get right on the train and get to work.
This project sits in the heart of the Fields Corner Commercial District, and residents can walk across the street to several restaurants. There are banks, there's job opportunities, and there are parks down the street, shopping center for groceries, all within walking distance.
Site turned out to be a wonderful site for the project.
The workforce housing aspect is special because the program is specifically aimed for folks that are working and don't make enough to qualify for subsidized housing, but don't necessarily make enough to pay for market rent on their own.
Tealy Development has been involved with a variety of projects in Fields Corner, and we believe that place matters. Focusing on a very specific community allows us to have a greater impact.
We thought that with this project, it will start to give insight on what it is to become a part of developing your neighborhood and being able to stay in your neighborhood and being able to afford in your neighborhood.
The crowdfunding initiative is one way that we keep the community involved in all the projects that we build.
This very small step towards creating a more inclusive and equitable real estate development process.
We would like people in the community to be a part of this project. So we're inviting community stakeholders to own a part of the project in Dorchester here with us.
Okay, thank you all for your attention. So I have dropped the link to this website into the chat, and I know we don't have much time, so if this is brief, I'll also mention that we're going to be doing a Zoom for about 45 minutes next Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. And I'll also leave my email. So if you wanted to sign up for the Zoom, I'll invite you. But for now, let me just give you a little overview about Small Change. So Small Change hosts all different kind of real estate projects that are doing crowdfunds. And up here, when you land on the page for 1463 Dot Ave, and if this seems strange to you, I'm gonna gloss over the terms because securities don't allow us to mention the terms in public space, so that in the instance that I say the wrong number, I'm not giving people wrong information. So all the numbers are on the website. But you can see here that in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say how much money has been raised. There's a minimum that we need to hit. And if you sign up and decide to invest, they actually don't pull money out of your account or from your credit card unless we hit this minimum goal and at the end of the closing. So, you know, we've got some time here left to invest. And then also there's a maximum. So if you try to invest and we're already at the maximum, those opportunities will have already been taken. And this is a one-time offering. So we encourage you, if you're interested, to take a look at it. And this is the minimum amount of an investment. So you can see this is about a lot of people pitching in and having some ownership over something. This isn't a donation, and investing and learning a little bit more about real estate. And then the returns of the offering are listed here. Again, I'm not going to say these numbers out loud because in case I say the wrong ones, then I've given misinformation, but they're all here on the website. So it tells you the % return on the investment, if there's going to be a bonus, and if the equity is going to be returned, what type of investment it is, the term and how long is the investment, and then when it closes. And then you do have 2 days up until before the closing date, even if you did already sign up, to cancel if you change your mind. So this website is really rich. There's 10 different subjects that you can look at, from about the project, the video, about the change, the small change index, so they're kind of grading or report card for real estate projects, about the finances. So this section in here shows you exactly who's invested, you know, mass housing, the Mass Housing Workforce Fund, Healthy Neighborhood Equity Fund, the sponsor equity, which is the T-Lead development for 1463 Dot Ave, on an equal basis with investor members, and then the small change investor members. So this portion here, this line means that folks who are investing alongside T-Lead development and the sponsor team who's making this offering are getting the same terms. That's not the case for all of the crowd funds on small change. So that's something that I like to point out. So everybody will be getting these terms over in the upper right in the offering highlights. There's definitely some legalese versions of all this. If you, I'd encourage you to read that as well. But everything that's listed here, kind of in these pretty pictures and like about the key deal points, about the return and the risks, are also here in this very long disclosure packet. Oops, sorry about that. At the top. So right before you click on add some change, this is where you would click to get to the disclosure packet. And this has everything about the LLC and the raise all outlined in official legal format. This is just the more digestible version and available. All of this is available to the public, so anybody can look at it. And then down here at the bottom, I'll also mention that you can ask questions. So you can see just a day ago, somebody asked questions about the windows. Oh, Cynthia says we are running out of time. So I'm going to just pause right there, stop the share, and get to some questions. Thank you, Cynthia.
No problem. Questions or comments? No? I think this is such a cool project. This is so exciting. We've talked about this in the community so much, like how residents that don't know much about development can learn, have like an inside view on what's happening and even be a part of it. Okay, here the chat's going now. Okay. So innovative.
I do have one question. How can businesses get involved? How can individual people find places to rent, so on and so forth?
Great. So I'll pass it off to Daniela, who's working. She's the project manager for 1463 Dot Ave.
So in terms of accessing the opportunities in the development, so outside of this crowdfunding effort, I'm going to drop in the link, the access to our website for the project. So there you'll find for businesses, in the next week or two, we'll have a form that businesses can fill out if they're interested in occupying any of the retail spaces that we're building, not just for this project. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come in the next like 2 weeks to our website. So that's a good way. Through there, you can also contact us. If you know of anyone specifically that has any retail needs that would like to connect, I'm going to drop my email in the box as well. Feel free to email me directly. And in terms of access to the actual rental units, because it is income restricted housing, we do have to hold a lottery to make sure that it is accessible, equitable, and affirmatively marketed to everyone. So that will probably start in September of this year. I think the neighborhood council Gmail is on my community list. So you guys usually get all of my emails about apartments that are available in all of T-Lead development projects. So we'll make sure when that opportunity is available that we share that with this team, this group as well.
Excellent. Other questions or comments? The chat is active and people are answering questions there. So I encourage you to look there. I think Erica asked for the Zoom link for the upcoming meeting on Tuesday. And Miriam said that you need to email her to access that. Oh, okay, now the Zoom link is in the chat. So everything is in the chat. This is amazing. I'm so glad that you guys are taking a leadership role in getting the community involved in development. And we're so happy you presented here at the neighborhood council meeting tonight. We will definitely spread the word and share with our friends and neighbors and family that this is happening in our community and they can get involved. Are there any?
Cynthia, can I just add that I just want to tell everyone that it's safe. I'm an investor and I'm really excited about it. And I think it's a wonderful thing to be a part of something that's happening in your neighborhood. And in the article, I call it like owning a piece of the rock, right? You get to be a part of this. You get to watch your investment grow right before your very eyes. You get to drive by and watch the process and progress of it. And then you even get to come together, the owners, to talk about like what kind of commercial person or business we want to see in that space. And we get to talk about maybe landscaping and who should come and do all of that. So there's so many wonderful perks to being a part of something like this in your own neighborhood, even if you don't own, but you thought about it and was wondering how do I become a developer? You know, developers are just ordinary people, right? But they just have this inclination about how to do things. So this can give you some insight to how this is done, just being a part of this process. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit and to encourage you. And even if you have questions and you want to talk to me, because I am an investor, I'm happy to answer any questions, not now though. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. We appreciate that. Letting us know it's safe. This is really happening in our neighborhood. It's very cool. Okay, so all of the links to all the additional information, it's in the chat. Make sure that you stay in contact with these wonderful people that are bringing this opportunity to our neighborhood, to Dorchester. And thank you guys so much. Moving along in the agenda are the representatives for 106, 114 Wales Street and Browning Ave on the call. We are running short on time, so I need everyone to stick to the time limits.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, how you doing? My name is Kirk Phillips, and I'm with Cheryl, Tougias. I am a local developer, and I lived in this neighborhood, lived on Standish Street, and also Calendar Street, and from Mattavan to Dorchester, pretty much. Basically, when we purchased this lot, originally we thought about actually creating a large rental development for folks that want to stay in the neighborhood and from the neighborhood, and even new folks coming into the neighborhood. But a large modern building that's open to everyone. And later on, we decided to switch gears with the rising cost of real estate, homes, and everything. And we're going through a time where we're going to see major changes from folks selling and new owners coming in. We wanted to offer units where folks that's selling would, could buy into a building like this and still remain in the neighborhood. So that's pretty much where the need of this project came about. I have Cheryl. She's the architect. She's going to explain and also show what the project looked like. Cheryl?
Let's see. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Kirk. I'm Cheryl Tougias, the principal with Spalding Tougias Architects. Our office is located in the South End, and we've been working with Kirk for a bit now on this project. The site is, as you said, located on Browning and Wales, and you can see that indicated in the aerial view on the top. We'll just try and move through these fairly quickly. These are some photographs. On the left, Browning is going towards the top of the slide, taken at the intersection of Wales. And then the photo on the right is Wales, again at the intersection. And you can see in the key at the bottom where those photos are taken and which direction they're looking. So the site is a total of 5 vacant parcels combined to be nearly a 26,000 square foot site. And this, you can see what the white arrow is pointing to the site. So you can see it's close to the intersection of Wales and Talbot. And I'm showing this because there's a mix in the context in terms of the architecture in this location. And the design of the building, we wanted to pick up on some of that, the building materials and colors and palette that exist in the area. So this is a view of the proposed building from Wales Street, where you see the entrance to the building. At this side, it's a 4-story building. The program Kirk mentioned as home ownership, it would be 40 units, and they would be comprised of studios, 1 beds, 2 beds, and 3 beds. You can see in the upper right how that breaks down. Because the property slopes from Wales up Browning, there's opportunity to put parking mostly below ground, and that can accommodate 32 parking spaces. The building would be just under 50,000 square feet, and its height varies from 3 stories at the upper end of Browning, 4 stories here, and there's a portion of it that has 5 stories. It's set back on all sides, so it's not very visible from the street. This property lies within a 3-family, 5,000 district, so it would require variances. You can see there's a list of the variances in the lower right. The multifamily use, the amount of land per unit, that's what the lot area is, the rear yard setback, and then the overall size of the building, which would be the gross floor area and FAR, as well as height. Height for this district would be 3 stories. And then the off-street parking requirements. So the building materials, as I mentioned, pick up on the palette of what we find in the neighborhood, including brick and kind of a horizontal type of siding, which is indicative of wood, although it's fiber cement and metal so that it has more durability. It's set back from the street so that there can be adequate landscaping between the sidewalk and the street. There's a play area on the left side here where you can see where the red leaf trees are. This is showing the palette of materials that I just described with a sample, a photograph of a project that has a similar palette of materials. This is a view looking from at the intersection, so you can see the gentleman standing and sort of in the middle is the entrance to the bicycle room. And then just I'll show with my cursor, hopefully you can see it, above this car is where the garage door is, that is the entrance to the parking. This at the top, you can see the 5th floor step back. The windows aren't visible, they're just behind this coping here for the 4-story portion of the building. And then you can see the grade rising up. This is a composite floor plan that shows from grade what you would find behind the facades on the ground level. So because the parking's below grade here, what you would have is these units would be at this level, and there would be individual access right from Browning Ave into these 2 units, and then this could be a second entrance into here. This would be the entrance for the parking, a trash room, bicycle room, a unit on the corner, the entrance to the building in the lobby, a common amenity room for all the residents in the building with a common outdoor space and play space. As I mentioned, the building is set back from the sidewalk to line up with the adjacent buildings so that there can be adequate landscaping, a rain garden on the corner, and a rain garden in the rear. Street trees that would be lining both streets.
Just letting you know you have a few minutes left.
Okay, I described the landscaping, so I'll keep moving past these. This gives you a flavor what the landscaping would be. And this gives you an idea of the building from Browning. So you can see it's where it's 3 stories on the right side, and where you can see a portion of the 5th floor here. These are the individual entrances that I mentioned with the landscaping in front. This shows the 30, there's a, I have to find that I found a discrepancy. This earlier slide said 32 spaces and this shows 30. So I have to confirm whether it's 30 or 32. And I apologize for that discrepancy. But that shows the full parking layout. And then this, just wanted to point out that the top floor, this where it's purple is where the 5th floor is. So I mentioned it's set back on all sides so that its height is set back further from the street. This is the only place where it comes all the way down. And then there would be room for roof decks and green roof and common area on that level. And then lastly, this is a street elevation showing the context on Browning at the top with the triple deckers, and then how the height steps down towards Wales. And then at the bottom is an elevation of the building in the context on Wales. And that is the end of the slide. So I'm happy to go back to any particular slide or to end the screen share, whatever you prefer.
You have a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
You want to read them and respond?
Okay, let's see. The height of the adjacent buildings, I don't have the exact height, but on Browning, they're 3 stories plus the half story that you go upstairs to the 1st floor. So I would say at least 35 feet, something in that nature. On Wales, again, there's 3 stories here on the corner and 3 stories here going up some stairs. So they might be in the 35-foot, so a half story grade. We're not doing a half story like that so that we can be a fully accessible building. Let's see. I'll let Kirk address the questions about pricing. And we haven't discussed utilities yet, but maybe he has an idea of how he wants, whether he wants this to be an all-electric building. That's certainly something that we'll be talking about. The zero net energy is something that we're going to be talking about as well. We had questions from the Greater Mattapan Neighborhood Council's Committee on Housing and Development last week, similar questions, and we will get back with answers to those questions. So Kirk, if you want to please answer the questions about the pricing.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. So basically on pricing, we're trying to keep the numbers maybe high 3s to somewhere around 6 per unit. The goal is to have an average somewhere around the 5 range. And we also right now we have a 6 units that's affordable. We're trying to make it happen for an additional 2 units that would make 8 affordable units in the building. And as far as utilities, what we're trying to do is, of course, it has to be engineered out, but the goal is to make it as simple as possible. As far as heating is concerned, we're planning on doing heat pumps similar to like hotel style, where you have a heat pump in the window, and that will basically be per room. For example, a bedroom would have a heat pump, a living room, which comes right into a dining area and kitchen, and let's say it's a 2-bedroom, you'll have a total of 3 heat pumps, which will be electric. And basically what the heat pump does, it uses the air outside to save energy on making the interior comfortable. So I think going that route will save a bunch of money on utilities. So we're still engineering that part. So we're not quite there yet. And as far as the numbers is concerned, based on rising costs of material and labor, you know, it kind of throw everything off for us. So we are working on that, but the goal is to make it as affordable as possible and still be worthwhile, you know.
Okay, well,
that's our goal.
I think you've answered the questions that are in the chat. We are running short on time, so I do need to move on. The process with the Neighborhood Council is our Zoning Licensing and Development Committee will meet and look at this project further. The council is very concerned with sustainable development, smoke-free housing, sustainable landscape, affordable housing so that residents in this neighborhood can truly afford the housing. And so they'll be in touch with you with regard to the additional questions, comments, and concerns the council has.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Cynthia, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure that this group met with the THT Neighborhood Association. They met last night, and truly that is their catchment area. I heard you say Greater Mattapan, which they are part of Greater Mattapan, but I know last night they were mentioning this project. So don't know if you know Cynthia Francis, but it would be good to make sure that you guys connected.
That's the Talbot Harvard triangle. If you guys haven't reached out to them, you should.
Oh, yes, definitely, we will. Do you have any contact for them that you can forward?
Yes, I'll try to figure out how to get that to you, but
I'll put it in the chat for you.
I don't want to put her cell phone.
No, I'll just to Kirk. I'll just give it just to Kirk.
Okay.
No, it'll just be her email. She checks her email. Okay, we have to move on. Next on the agenda.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
For your presentation. Next on the agenda, we're going to learn about a curb cut request for 19 Regina Road. Share my screen here.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi. This is Humayan Morshed. I am the owner of 19 Regina, Dorchester. And I live this property. I bought the property almost 10 years. I like to have the curb cuts so I can park 2 cars, please.
Pretty straightforward. I was asked to share this image for you. And this is on Regina Road, right?
Right, yeah, Regina Road, yep.
Okay, any questions? Nope. Perfect. Again, the Zoning Licensing and Development Committee will review the request and then we'll be in touch with you with regards to how to move forward. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Thank you. Moving along.
Cynthia.
No problem. Moving along in the agenda, we will now hear from the owner of 76 Brent Street. It's a request to convert a 1-family to a 3-family.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. I'm Eloisa Centeio. I live at 76 Brent Street. I've been here for 28 years, raised my family here. Now they're all grown and I have pretty big space, wanted to downsize. And I don't want to leave the neighborhood. I've been here for such a long time. I feel very good. I think this place has a good potential to accommodate for some housing that the city needs help with. And it be helping me as well, because I would have downsize a little bit and stay in my neighborhood. I am close to 2 stations, Shawn station and Ashmont station. And I think this is a great location to make small apartments on top of where I have a 2-bedroom attic, and transform also my basement in another unit with 2 bedrooms. I called Cesar Silva. He's here. He's my contractor and the architect, and he can show you the project in question here.
I was able to unmute myself. Thank you. Hi, everyone. How y'all doing? Good evening. My name is Cesar De Silva, architect and builder. And I hope then bear with me because I am not so technology aware here. And let me see if someone can show these plans or should I show it? Let me, okay. This one? No, here. Yeah, let me see. Okay. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay. The objective of this project is with Miss Centeio is a scenario that happens a lot in Boston nowadays, where people have now the children has grown and moved out, and they are left with a bigger house that they can use. With the objective, or her objective now, is to turn to make this house more useful to her and to prospective tenants. So the objective here is to add 2 small units. There is an attic which is almost unused, a lot of waste space in the attic. So she would take that roof and put another floor, or like dorms another floor, and make this attic into a usable unit, which she can in turn rent to prospective residents of this area. And at the same time, we have a ground floor, a basement, which is being not used efficiently. And there is all potential for in the construction code here to turn this into a living space, all within the building and life and safety code. So here I want, if you see the 3rd floor, we have a coming up, we will on the side build the stairs that will go from the 1st floor into the new 3rd floor. There is a bedroom, which is, I believe here, excuse me I'm sorry, let me make this a little bigger. Actually is almost 11 feet by 14 feet bedroom, 2 by 6 closet, and a family room of 11 okay, by 8 feet, and an open kitchen, and another bedroom, which is 11 by 10. So this small unit, which is 794 square feet, has 2 bedrooms and an open living, open family room and kitchen, a bathroom, and a bathroom overall, and the 2 means of egress. So it will be a nice, tight, small apartment on the 3rd floor. And as the ground floor, which now, excuse me, is this the one, Dahlia? Okay, because so, can everybody see this, please? I hope if you can. The addition, what you see in black, is what will be added to accommodate, to make this space more accommodating. We'll have a large kitchen living area, open space, and we will have a bedroom, a 10 by 10 bedroom in the back, and another bedroom of 12 by 10. The new entrance will be 1 in the front and 1 in the back, and all of this will be conforming to the building code. Now we are coming before you for the variance of the zoning code, and we have to coming before the community and then going before the board for a couple of variances that will be the side yards and the FAR. And so that's what we would like to present to you and have your support and help this family use these premises in the best manner possible. And so they can, as they get old, and they can stay in their house and actually be able to stay in Boston as Boston gets more and more expensive. And what are they doing here is helping and contribute with building more housing in Boston as residents that own their own property. They are not, developers, but they are owners. They're like moving out as the big state, learning and finding ways how to maintain and keep living in Boston by using their property to their best interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a minute more or no?
Yes, yes. Can you talk a little bit about the parking?
Yes, I have, that's exactly what I was gonna get to. I have a driveway that I can accommodate like 3 cars or maybe 4 in case that we do rent a unit. So each unit will have a space to park the car. And this street also has a free parking both sides of the street. I spoke to most of my neighbors. Most of them agree and with the project. I only had 2 that was concerned about the parking. But I also said, when I thought about this project, I thought about the train station that I have close, that people really wouldn't probably need a car, but if needed be, I have the my driveway that can accommodate plus the street parking. So that's pretty much what I was thinking. I would love to stay here in my house and accommodate to family, small family to stay also in the neighborhood.
It's nice to hear that you want to stay in the neighborhood. She's my neighbor. Are there any other questions or comments with regard to 76 Brent? If you guys want to learn more about this project, do you have an abutters meeting coming up?
Tomorrow.
Do you have a link for that meeting that you could put in the chat?
I will drop it for you guys. I'll drop it.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments for 76 Brent Street? No. Again, the Zoning Licensing and Development Committee for the Neighborhood Council will discuss it further and then reach out to you with any questions or comments before the council takes a position.
Okay, thank you so
Cynthia,
much.
just a quick question. Are there any other houses in the area that have living space in the basement that you know of?
Well, my neighbor next door, she said she has a big basement and she may think to fix that. I don't know if she would rent it or not, but it's about the same size as mine or a little bit bigger, but in my street we have few 3-family houses, and I know up the street on my side of the street there is a condo with 3 apartments. In the back they have a 3-family. Also in Wainwright Street, also there is a few 3-family houses. And one of the neighbors told me about this concern because he said he purchased his house about 2 years or 3 years ago. And he said, oh, I like to keep it this way. I don't have nothing against your project, but I would like to keep it one family or 2-family, not 3, because I want to make 3 units. I said, well, these streets already have a 3-family, and that's the only thing. But he said, I don't have nothing against, and he said he will be on the meeting tomorrow.
Well, thank you for being transparent about the response from the immediate neighbors that you have. We appreciate that. We don't always get that. And then Marilyn, to answer your question, it was summarized nicely, but also the City of Boston's ADU program has been encouraging like homeowners to build out their attics and their basements so that they can provide additional housing and stay within their homes and get additional income. So I have been seeing owners do the ADU program as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. Moving along in the agenda, I think Sophie is on to talk about the Boston Climate Action Network.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me, and Cynthia for the invite. Really appreciate your all time, so I'll try to be quick. I just want to introduce myself I am brand new to the Boston Climate Action Network, really excited to be here. I'm from the area, but the BCAN is a community-based organization. We're volunteer-led, except for me. We're fighting for climate justice, building coalition across Boston, trying to build capacity for the climate justice movement, leverage our people power to prioritize and be in solidarity with frontline-led and Black, Indigenous, people of color-led community groups who have intersecting climate solutions with all of the social justice issues that present themselves to our communities, intersecting and making sure we're addressing those in tandem. So yeah, we have worked on several campaigns over the years. The most recent one was about big buildings in Boston and changing regulations on that so that they will lower emissions and in turn provide money through a funding program to environmental justice communities. And right now we're in an interesting transition phase where we're deciding on what our next campaign will be. So I wanted to come to this group. I know Codman Square folks have been really engaged in climate and environmental justice work in the past and currently. So really interested in hearing what you all think, if anyone is interested in being involved more, or if there's projects that Beacon could help with. Some of the big topic areas that we're thinking about focusing on that we're sort of doing like listening and learning campaigns about are the housing justice and climate justice intersection. So thinking about green and net zero affordable housing, lowering energy burden with equitable retrofits, and also policy about that, zoning, all sorts of things that sort of contribute to both housing and climate mitigation, because that's, I know, a huge thing. Another topic area is trees, green infrastructure, and urban heat island effect, particularly with an emphasis of mitigating urban heat island effect in communities that are often communities of color, often low-income communities that experience urban heat island effect most, thinking about those intersections. And then finally, we're thinking about maybe a campaign around the Boston public schools and trying to push funding and policy to equitably and quickly retrofit those. And I know that that was an idea that came out of a Codman Square neighborhood council meeting a while ago when community member Mike Ritter described his efforts to get ventilation and proper HVAC into his kids' schools. Yeah, so sorry if I talked a little fast, but I'm really excited to be here and learn from you all, and wondering if there's any input or advice or questions or anything like that.
Mike is also a neighbor, and I know a lot of people are really passionate about the air quality and, you know, how safe our children are in Boston Public Schools. A lot of these are super exciting and near and dear to our heart. How do we get in touch with you to discuss it further, or to be a part of a listening session, or share some of the things that we have in our mind with regard to climate justice?
Absolutely. So I just dropped my email in the chat, and I'm more than happy to get emails from folks. Also, I'm going to drop my phone number in the chat. Happy to get texts or calls as well. Let's see, how do I type? And we also have every other week we have an action team meeting where anybody from any community in Boston is welcome to come. In a second, I'll grab that registration link and put it in the chat as well. And I'm really psyched to chat with anybody one-on-one who might have ideas or is interested. Or, I mean, I don't know if Cynthia would be willing to pass along suggestions or ideas too, if people want to get in touch with you. Yeah.
Very exciting.
And if folks are don't necessarily want to volunteer or get involved themselves, but they know of somebody or are somebody who has experience with or works for an organization that is really invested in any of those three topic areas, that's something that I would really like to know as well, because I think as we're doing these like listening campaigns, and also just generally trying to build community and relationships with folks, getting in touch with organizations or individuals who are working in any of these areas would be really great.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I think it's to be continued. We hope you join us in the future because
absolutely, I hope so too.
Great. I'm now going to hand it off to Mike to talk about the Codman Square Library Programming Study and some of the climate concerns we have with regard to that building. Is Mike on?
Great. So I just put in the chat information about where to catch up with this process if you haven't been involved so far. Here I'll just show a couple of items about what the city and the library department are planning, and then bring up some questions that are facing us. So for folks who haven't been involved, for about a year, the city has been leading a community process to get input about whether and how we would like to renovate or replace the Codman Square Library. They're working on basically on all the libraries in the city one by one. Adams Street's already been done. Roxbury got a makeover, so it's Codman Square's turn. This is a picture of the kind of thing they're talking about inside, kind of opening up the library, more light, kind of a very healthy environment inside, and an efficient building that doesn't use as much energy and doesn't kind of pollute the climate as much. Outside, here's what they're talking about: keeping a lot of the green space that's there, integrating it better with the library, so you can just kind of walk out of the library and have the kind of do an upgrade on the space around the library so that you can sit outside. There would be a garden that's more tied into the library. There would be a lawn on Walton Street. So this is Washington Street. This is the present library, and that's Wells Ave here. It would also be more climate friendly, or more kind of better adapted. The pavement would be permeable. In other words, rain and water could go through the pavement instead of accumulating and pooling. Lots of trees, new trees in the front, and so forth. So that's kind of the big picture. And then there are some choices for us all to make. The city really wants to put housing on the site, and I didn't hear any opposition in the last meeting in January about doing that, although there were some concerns about where the housing would be and how tall it would be, how much of an impact it would be visually on the neighborhood. So there are basically two sets of options. One keeps the library where it is along Washington Street and puts housing somewhere else on the lot. This would be in the green space, tree space that's up Wells Ave. That's one option. Another option is to tear down this building, the present building, build a new library here that runs up Walton Street, and put like 5 stories of housing here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's another option. Tear down the library, put a new one up along Wells Ave, and put a 5-story housing building on Walton Street. And then there is they floated the possibility of, of either kind of keeping the present building or building a new one and having housing on top of it. There are arguments for doing that. You save a lot of energy and pollute the climate less if you keep the existing building and don't tear it down. There's a lot of energy and waste involved in demolishing the building, disposing of it, bringing in new materials. That's a big part of the building's climate footprint or the project's footprint. And in fact, it would take 60 years for a new and more efficient building to catch up with the kind of climate cost, carbon cost of that's saved by keeping the present building. And this is something we brought up with them. I have to say that they seem really to be listening to what we're saying. So, let me stop, see what people think about all these, if there are clarifying questions. I urge people to, take a look at the chat and go to what they're proposing and weigh in on what we want for the library.
This is great. Thank you for the visuals, Mike. This is an important opportunity that we must take advantage of to really push for what residents of Codman Square want to see when it comes to this building. If you want a new building, if you want to think about reducing our impact on the environment and utilizing the existing structure, do you want housing? Do you not want housing? How do we keep this project sustainable? How do we make good decisions this go round that will impact years to come? So I really do encourage you to visit the link that Mike put in the chat, because there's still opportunities to weigh in, provide comment, and there will be future meetings still, right, Mike?
Yep.
Okay. Still
No date.
to engage. I am happy to hear that they're listening, because we were concerned with the way that they structured the meetings and how they presented what information when. We were concerned that, maybe they weren't hearing our passion for climate justice, but it seems like they're at least going to think about it, consider it, and engage us in this way. So this is good. Questions or comments for Mike?
I will put my email in the chat if people just want to catch up on this process.
And the links that you provided, there's a lot of detail. There's a lot of information. The previous meetings are on there. And they've been very accessible. So if you want to reach out to the team that's been put together to kind of do this program study, they're accessible as well to discuss this project in detail. Okay. Thank you, Mike. We hope to have more updates as this continues on, because I think we're just very excited for this opportunity in Codman Square. A comment, love the gardens and sustainable design. Yes, I think that was a big thing across the board in many of the meetings. People want to retain the green space that's there and even expand on it. So it's really important that we participate in these meetings so we can share that information. Great, thanks, Mike. We appreciate it. Moving along in the agenda, Denise, did you want to give an update from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services?
Good evening, everyone. I'll keep it really brief. Just to kind of let everyone know there is going to be a vaccine site starting tomorrow at the BCYF on Talbot Ave. It starts tomorrow for every Thursday in the month of February. I've shared that on my social media accounts. I will also share that with you guys, but it's every Thursday, and that's for the first shot, second, or boosters. And that's every Thursday. And then there's also a new testing site that's going to be at the Leela Frederick Pilot on Columbia Road. And that's for the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And I also will put that information in the chat for you guys too. And that's continuous until it's needed within Mid-Dorchester. The vaccine mandate, that's still a thing. Obviously, it's, by February 15th, everyone has to be kind of fully vaccinated, ages 12 and up. I just want to see if I made sure I got everything for you guys. Everything else is kind of like repetitive. And so I know we're running short on time, so I don't want to take up much more time, but I will drop my name, my email, my contact info. If you guys did need to reach me or have any questions, feel free to. Yeah.
Great. And feel free to put links to all the information that you just shared too.
Yes, I'm going to do that now.
Thank you. Any questions for the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services? No? comments? If not, I'm going to move on to State Representative Russell Holmes.
Hey, Cynthia.
Hello.
I'll just continue with where Denise was. She was being very fast, but one of the things I can tell you, I was texting with Michelle last night about just locations. Obviously, there are some piles of snow in different places all across the city. Let us make sure that we use 311. Let's try our best to get those. And even I think 311 was so overloaded the other day that even when I was trying to report some of them, it was taking a long time to upload. But if you see these big piles and you think that we need to have someone come over and get these things moved because people can't get around the corners and stuff, let us please do that. The other thing I'll just say, just city, we as the elected of color, I think it was on yesterday or today, have been very bothered by some of the racist, misogynistic, horrible comments being made by our mayor, by some folks. And so we stood up yesterday, that is all of the elected of color here in Boston, and said, if we stand silent, that would be unacceptable for us. We believe that it should be okay it is okay, of course, to criticize all of us when it comes to our policies, but you cross a line when you're literally standing in front of our mayor's house doing and some of the things they're doing. So we understand folks have their rights, but I will say my position is still with the mayor, and that is that I believe all of us in public service should be vaccinated. And unfortunately, we've had that position also at the state level, and of the folks that we have there, the 42,000 people we have at the state, we have unfortunately lost about 1,000 or so, a little more than 1,000 employees, simply around the thought that they did not want to get vaccinated. So this is a tough stance, but that's about 2.5% of the folks who at the state level, and it sounds like we're heading that way also with the city. I'm going to say what I think is something that's clear, and that is COVID is not over, folks, and it's definitely not over in our communities. We are still the most impacted, least vaccinated community here in Boston, particularly when I talk about Mattapan. And so I'd like to pull up the numbers when I have these conversations and say still 82% of our ICU beds are occupied at this very moment, and 92% of our beds in hospitals are occupied across the state. This is not over, people. We need to still encourage our family members. Some of that encouragement, of course, here in government has been kind of strong-armed, and clearly you guys can continue to email or call if you're concerned about the way we're doing that. But quite frankly, it is like one of the few ways that actually people have decided to get vaccinated, because we're saying you need to get vaccinated to keep some of these jobs. And yes, I am getting some of the pushback in that I've had some constituents call one young lady who's a nurse over at MGH literally yesterday is trying to get her unemployment and is challenged about getting her unemployment because she made a decision, religious reasons, to not get vaccinated and lost her job at MGH. So I understand the challenges that we're in at this moment, but please know, again, 92% of our beds still occupied at this moment. We are the least vaccinated community. Let us please not antagonize one another, but let us please encourage one another to get vaccinated. I know we're short on time. I have about 4 or 5 issues to know. We'll talk about police reform next month. We can talk about jobs. I think there's a big thing going on with jobs right now. A lot of people quitting. There are, just to piggyback on Denise, she was fast, but we need you at the city. Like, we need employees basically in every department in the city. Obviously, like I said, we just unfortunately had to lose about 1,000 people across the state employment. Please find opportunities as well. And let me just say one more thing. Blue Avenue, there's been this thing on Blue Hill this week. We had a meeting this week around the dedicated busway. And one of the nasty things that came out again with regard to our mayor was there was this horrible tweet and then a couple of subsequent things that happened in regard to this thought that we were going to start to add parking meters down Blue Avenue. It was mentioned in the meeting. It was an absolute no, that wasn't the position we were taking, but still the Twitterverse just went crazy. So just want to make sure in another meeting I say, no, there were not parking meters to discuss. We will be finding a way to figure out how to not have it so that someone parks on Blue Avenue and sits there for 24 hours a day in front of a business and the business doesn't get any business because this car is parked there. We believe that might be 30-minute parking or 2-hour parking or something of that nature, but parking meters was not one of the ways we thought we would go. Thanks. I'll be as fast as I can. See you next month.
Thank you, Rep. Holmes. Any questions or comments for State Representative Rep. Holmes? No? I'm gonna ask you guys, because Rep. Holmes is full of so much information, and he comes to the meetings every month, and he really keeps us connected to what's happening at the state level. Please put in the chat what you would like to hear from him so that he can prioritize and really just kind of channel whatever he wants to speak to us about. He does a really excellent job giving us relevant information real time at the monthly meetings. But this is your opportunity to just put in the chat what you want to hear more about so that he can be ready for next month. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you. Moving
welcome.
on
Thank you.
in the agenda, we're going to move on to announcements. I'll start off. Reminder, subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure that you're sharing these meetings with your friends, family, and neighbors. And also the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market is every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. if the weather allows for it. Otherwise, order online and have farm fresh food delivered to your doorstep. There's still time if you want to let Richard know of a family that is in need. We're giving away $100 worth of food to 10 families. So please message him right now, Richard Scott. Other announcements?
Yes, I have an announcement, Cynthia.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Good evening, Common Square neighbors. I hope all is well and that you all are staying safe. My name is Jawan Skeens. I'm the youth director for Redefining Our Community Neighborhood Organization here in Dorchester. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to Common Square neighbors and Cynthia for extending your support and trying to establish a life skills training and wellness center at 872 Morton Street inside of Dorchester. Our elected officials and developers of 872 Morton Street have kept an open mind and are willing to work with the community on building generational wealth and wellness for years to come. So I definitely want to start off with that. And the second thing is the Norfolk Street Bridge inside of our area. It's still a work in progress. We got a petition together back last year in 2020 to bring attention to renovations to the Norfolk Street Bridge in the area. I posted recently on the Facebook page of the Common Square Council if you guys haven't had a chance to see it. But definitely we're looking to get the stairs to become more ADA compliant for our neighbors with disabilities. And then we're also trying to do something about seeing while walking over the bridge as you can't see over the metal barrier. That is still work in progress. I'm urging our city and state officials to do something about this for our public safety. And definitely I will be following up on this at the next meeting as well. And thank you so much for offering some time for me, Cynthia.
Absolutely. Thank you for keeping us up to date on those matters. Other announcements? No? Jeff, were you going to make an announcement?
Oh, yes. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Jeff Humayan here, commercial real estate broker. I actually shared the news with Cynthia earlier yesterday regarding the Citizens Bank that's located in the corner of 569 Washington Street and Aspinwall Street. I believe that Citizens Bank has decided to relocate. I think, well, from what I've heard, it's not confirmed yet, but they decided to relocate and they will be vacating the current space there. So that space is coming available. As I said to some of the people that's on this call right now, that if potentially had any connections with any bank credit unions, to refer me or connect me with them, just so we could keep a bank in the community. So that's what I was here for today, is just to announce that Citizens Bank will be leaving and that space will become available. Ideally, we would just like to see a bank there. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. That's prime real estate on Washington Street. So if you have any leads for Jeff, he'll put his information in the chat. Any other announcements? If not, I want to thank you all for your time and attention tonight. Please share this meeting, go on YouTube, share this meeting with your friends, family, and neighbors. We meet every month, same time, same place. So I will see you next month.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Right.